Yeah, F1WL is in. We need an invite to the game.
Make sure to include your audio.
Yep.
I won't commentate today because of my voice and throat no being alright, so yeah.
I just need an invite
That
to the
couple
game.
will commentate instead. Yeah.
And I am in. Welcome everyone for the Tier 3 Canadian Grand Prix, round number 4, F1WL season. And it should be a close race. So, 3 people already set times, and more people are about to start their lap. You go halfway around a lap. See what? As Brandon, I think there's a crash through the final chicane. This is you guys invalidates his first attempt at time out. Lewis is good as his big boy. Although is really going for a fast lap at the moment. Possibly Zach him up. At this point. Right? Is I stand as wise. I am slightly ill by the way. Probably. And second man towards the chicane he comes. Got to take as much curve as you can. Looks decent from McLaren. Into the line now. He's run out of battery. It won't be as good as it could be. Proves so 3 tenths off of Mick, who's on provisional pole. Monkey D. Brown is then on a lap. He's got purple first sector. So we will follow this one closely. And Monkey through the hairpin. Only a couple of corners left on this lap. And twist the chain. Must be done very cautious though. That cost me a few attempts. Just big sack of oversteer. That is not ideal. Run to the line, goes 3rd fastest so far. And it was just started a lap behind Monkey. Wonder if he'll be putting a toe potentially down the back straight to try and improve his lap time. He heads through towards the end of the first sector now. And his teammate gets out of the way. Surprised they didn't go some kind of toe down the straight. but I guess it's safer to get out of the way. The Romeo comes through towards this next chicane. Very nicely through there. Here's the hairpin now. Heavy on the brakes. Pretty decent. Gets the power down nicely on the exit. Not losing time wheel spinning. Only a couple of corners left on this lap. See where he can put his Alfa Romeo. And that looks a bit dodgy from that Ferrari. I saw that on the screen that he was going slightly off course, and High Caliber goes third position, ahead of his teammate and just in behind Zackerman. Williams exits the pits. Nobody else really on lap. Lewis just started and validates turn 1. Look, coming down the back straight on. No, this can't be the end of the lap. I think he's about to start a new lap. If it is a lap, then he just can't use the battery. Yeah, he's definitely about to start another one. Even that outlap puts them ahead of Lewis. That's because Lewis has only done an outlap himself. Very tentative through the first couple of corners. Really not looking like he's pushing the car. And he's not using the battery again, so I wonder if this isn't another attempt. Stance on a improved lap, up by 4 tenths through the first sector. Coming towards the end of the second sector. We'll have a look at what the split is. Not super, only 3 tabs up now, lost a tenth through the middle sector. He's going to hope that he can gain a bit through the final few corners. Hairpin now, long run down the straight. Needs to try and find about half a second to move himself up to the top 3. Getting a bit of a toe off of his teammate, that was very well orchestrated from Zackerman. Starts to through the final 2 corners, hits the wall but keeps going. That would have cost him a few tenths to the second, but it's enough to move him into P4, and I wonder, without that, could he have been on for a top 3, or potentially even a front row position, provisionally? Nick the current pole sitter, half around lap, 2 tenths up, looking to break into the 1 minute 10s. Slight kick of oversteer there through the chicane. Less than a tenth up now, so he's lost time for the middle sector, but he'll try and gain a bit back through the final sector. He's already on provisional pole, so the only thing he can do here is just a safety advantage over the likes of Zackerman. Someone going slowly, but I believe that's someone getting out of the way of people. One of the McLarens. Yeah, Zackerman getting out of the way. Mick crosses the line, goes well into the 1 minute 10s. 1 minute 10.869, and he now has a 6 tenth buffer as the Alpine pulled over to the side. Hugo coming around towards the end of his first lap. It's still valid this time, so he's only got the chicane to navigate. Nice enough through there, didn't hit the wall, didn't get over the steer, so he will have got a pretty decent exit. Back we go. Up to second position for the Red Bull driver, and that moves Zackerman down into third place, so he will want to try and improve to challenge Mick, who currently appears to be his main rival for the championship. And Monkey has lost it. Monkey is into the wall very heavily, and so his 1 minute 12.2 will be his final lap. And just have down to overhouse to try and beat that. But that's not ideal for the Alfa Romeo driver. At least he got a lap time in. 2 people starting their lap. So Anti coming towards the end of his final lap. No, that's not a final lap, it's 1 minute 30s. Philip is not on a lap either. Neither is Supercars. Bottom man is invalid. No one really on a flyer. Zackerman on a flyer actually. Coming towards the final chicane now. Not sure what his delta is like for the first couple of sectors, but that is a very nice time of chicane using the curbs. And over the line, he moves up into P2, only half a tenth behind Mick. Really hotting up at the top. Danny Boy comes to the hairpin now on his final lap, down by just under a tenth. Possibly going to find some time in the final chicane. Lots to gain and lose through there, so could be anything. He's on a lap or something like that. Great, so I'll keep an eye on him anyway. Still on the power. Supercars finally set the lap time and goes P12 ahead of Lewis. That is not rubbish from him. And Philip hits the wall through the hairpin exit. And down towards the chicane. There's somebody round, I believe. They might have covered by now. Alpine. Yeah, Supercars has fun coming out of turn 2. Philip does improve into P11 ahead of Siberia Anti. As Postman is invalid. Real Pixel is on lap. Apparently P9 will look to improve on his lap time. Needs to find about 6 tenths to move up any positions. We've got the split strike through sector 2 in a second. Williams off the side of the road there with Postman getting out of the way of his teammate. Real Pixel nowhere near enough time gain. Only half a tenth up. So only the final section to try and gain time is going to be a tough ask to increase his position. Towards the light he goes. Towards the final chicane he goes. My brain's really not with it today. That's the pretty tidy final couple of corners to the line. Does improve by half a second, but it's not quite enough. Only a tenth of a second off of the P8. And Apollo up by 2 and a bit tenths coming to the final chicane. And that would put him ahead of Monkey onto the third row of the grid. And indeed it does, into P6 just behind the McLaren of Dan Super. Real Pixel thrashing out for sector 1, but he's not got any battery left, so I doubt he will actually be able to perform on this lap. Crosserman also through the first sector now. Didn't see what his split was, with the Williams pair both trying to improve from knocking out the 1, 2, 5th row of the grid. Yeah, so did just have to count that. And someone has spun, that is an Alpine. Siberia Anti went off through turn 5, 6. I don't know whether that is classed as 5 or 6. The Supercars gets 5 place grid penalty. He's spun around and he's collided with the Red Bull of Max. A bit of a strange one. Anyway, the Williams bottom man to the line, and it was invalid unfortunately for him, so he will not be improving on that lap. He will try and do a cooldown and go again, I would imagine. Lewis through the final chicane. He is up on his time. Looks like a pretty decent lap. And he goes into P3, only a couple of tenths off of the provisional pole time set by Mick. There's Max, and the other Red Bull is not on a flying lap. He will be starting soon. Not many people are on flying lap. Lewis retired from the session. and Hugo to the end of his flying lap goes up into third ahead of academy mate Lewis. Cannot quite challenge the top two, who are both on laps as of now. Nick coming through these 3 and 4 chicane, I believe that is. I'm not sure how the numbers work here because there's a little kink in between. Either way, through down the back straight now. Let's see what his splits like at the end of sector 2. On his last lap he was slower through the middle sector, so I wonder if he'll be able to find some of that time on this lap. Look at the split. And he's up by 0.2 of a second. Zachman also finding 0.2 in the first sector. If he can find a little bit more through the middle sector, he could be on for the provisional pole. Look at the delta as he comes along. Up by 2.5 he's going to be very close. Mick has lost it through the hairpin, so he will not be improving his lap time. Now it's all Zakiman's to lose. His current lap would be enough if he can just match his previous final sector, but that is a very tough ask. Going to have to nail the final chicane. Throws it into the right, slightly misses the apex of the first corner, so he might have lost a little bit of time. It's going to be close, and he does take it by just about 1/10 of a second. So provisional pole goes the way of Zachman. High Caliber has spun. I'm not sure where that is, to be honest. Oh, out of the final chicane. Bonga Kong also lost it, so I don't think anyone's going to be able to challenge for pole position now. Postman on a slow lap. Bonga Kong gets disqualified. He was up in P7, and after that spin, gets disqualified. That is not good for the Ferrari driver. So that will be your grid order for the main Grand Prix. Zakiman takes the pole position ahead of Mick, Hugo, Lewis and Max ran the top 5. 3 Red Bull Academy drivers within the top 5. And that is followed by High Caliber, Dance, Apollo, Monkey and Danny Boy rounding out the top 10. Williams pair end up locking out row 6. And it's cut away before I got to see the rest of the grid. So, just under 1/10 covering the top 2, very close here. Quite a bit of field spread after that though. A couple of seconds covering the top 11 drivers. And after that I don't think anyone really got the laps down how they wanted it. Hilsey with the qualifying ban after picking up too many penalties in previous races will start from 16th on the grid. Not ideal for his hopes of trying to contest for top 3 in the championship. I'm trying to fix it. Hope it's better. It's not really an Xbox than it might got given for Christmas using it on it. Either way, hopefully it stays alright. If not, someone can tell me. In about 30 seconds, drivers will have picked their tyres to start the race, sorted out fuel loads, strategies, setups, and we'll be getting underway here in Canada very shortly. Fans giving the drivers a in the stand. The mission is underway here in Canada. Now, let's look at tyres, because that is a very interesting factor around this track. Additionally, the hard to medium strategy would be the fastest. Hugo and Lewis have hit each other and moved from the movement. That's the only going real pixel. But they got very cold times to start. As I was saying, traditionally hard to medium is the best strategy. But with safety cars that are bound to happen here, good maneuvering if you want to attack the start of the race, because if there's a safety car around lap 10, they'll have to take the hard cars for the rest of the race and not have to make a pit stop and begin flat racing. So Sakna has stuck to the traditional hard medium. The Mick behind has gone from medium to the start to try and extract position and potentially hope for a safety car early on. Hugo length fives as well as Max, Apollo, Possum, Philip, Halsey and Omicron. Everybody else that can form even tries to start the race. And time will tell which will be the best strategy. No one going bold on the softs. To be honest, would have been a rather silly decision if they did so soft in the last 5 or 6 laps. And that's really not long enough to then do a one-stop race. So Zachman will back the field up now as they come towards the final chicane, and they will then pull up in their grid positions. They're flying rather close together, nice and neat and tidy. For once there's no one hanging miles behind. Zachman grids up very nicely indeed. Mick's quite a way down the field, but not a problem particularly. He drives past everyone on his way to P2 on the grid. And goes up perfectly on his marks. And so, in just a second, we'll be underway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go in Canada. Mick looks to have the best reaction time, and he is away ahead of Zakiman. Meanwhile, the Red Bull Hugo side by side with Lewis goes all the way around the outside. Bit of contact further back. One of the Hasties hit from the Alfa Romeo, I believe. Someone got spun around. Hilsey gets a 5-second penalty. And already a virtual or full safety car, as there has been carnage at the first chicane. Well, in the first couple of corners, I'm not even sure it's past the chicane. Donga Kong still spinning around, missing his front wing. Supercars, bit of damage, and a long way off the pack. And Possum Man will pick some, possibly Siberia, and you're caught up in that. I know certainly Possum Man was involved in that turn 1 tangle. So extremely real pixel was because he was the one Hilsey got a penalty for contact with. So Williams pair really not off to the start. I'm not sure if it's a full or a virtual safety car because it shows yellow flags on my screen. It must be a virtual, I'm going to presume, because there's no yellow dot on the map. And Zakiman plummeting down the order, he spun it on the exit of the final chicane. And Zakiman from second position all the way down into 15th. And he's knocked the end plate off of his wing. That's really not ideal for the McLaren driver. Mick now with over a second lead to Lewis in behind. Hugo and Max create a triple threat of Red Bull Academy, racing down the Mercedes of Mick. They've already closed in about half a second of that gap. And Philip has had a moment at the back of the pack through the chicane at the middle of the first sector, gets back going. I really need to Google what the corner numbers are because it's getting on my nerves. And now Lewis all over the back of Mick, going to look to try and put a move on. Looked into the chicane but smartly backed out of it. Now going to the inside, and the AlphaTauri takes the fastest lap of the race, dives to the inside, can't quite get the move done into turn 1, but gets a better exit, switch back underneath, got the overlap, drops in behind. Got a long way to go, there's no point risking picking up damage or a spin this early on in the race. I now have corner numbers to know which one is which. 3 and 4 is not changed, etc. And 5 is the pink after it, so that'll help me now. Supercars picked up a track limits penalty already, only lap 3 at this race. Lewis dives to the inside of the hairpin, gets it done, not quite, they're going to be side by side, drag race out the corner, Mick with a much better exit, but a little bit of battery deployed by Lewis. Mick has less battery available to him. Felix had another moment at the back of the pack. But now Hugo looking to capitalise after this battle. Lewis does finally get the move done. He takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. And further back, Real Pixel overtaking Brandon for 11th place. Brandon's had a spin. And Supercars into the pit lane, gets a 5-second penalty for speeding. He's a long way off the back of the pack, so I don't think that'll really affect his race. Crucially, Zakiman into pits as well. Monkey picks up a track limit penalty. Lots of penalties dished out early on in this race. Apollo looking to put a move on Dance Super here. There's the Ferrari driver looking to pass the McLaren. Can't do anything into hairpin. Dance goes in very deep. And could this open the door for Apollo? I'll get a good enough exit, but he'll have the battery, have DRS, and will fly past down this next straight. Could Danny Boy potentially look to take advantage because this is a double DRS zone, so Darts will be a sitting duck down the next straight with the hash behind. There's a safety car called out, and Danny Boy almost threw into Darts there. Safety car is out on the track. I never saw what actually happened to bring that one out. I was busy focusing on the battle. Brandon picked up a track limits penalty. Critically for... I'm not sure who that is. No, Lewis is in front of the safety car. But Mick is not. Oh, Mick almost taken out by the safety car. That was a scary moment. Safety car tried to pull out of the way as Mick tried to go past it, and it's still doing it to High Caliber. High Caliber breaks his wing on the safety car. Chaos here in Canada. High Caliber now has front wing damage. Can't think we'll see anyone finishing the lane this early on in the race. High Caliber missing the entire end plate of his wing after that collision with the safety car. I actually didn't get penalised for it by the game because generally that tends to be what happens. Just noticed Postman went onto the soft after his lap 2 pit stop, so he could be in a pretty good place on the restart as High Caliber and Apollo dive into the pit lane. Also picked up track limits, as does Real Pixel into the safety car. Apollo goes onto the mediums. High Caliber goes onto the hard, as I believe. And Kevin's in the front wing. No, it goes onto another set of mediums. Kevin's in the front wing. Everyone is still on the lead lap, so you will have to wait for everyone to back up to the back of the track. So, Atkins jump shot as managed to pit lane off of those soft compound tyres. He's gone on to set hard, try and stretch to the end of the race, I'm guessing, but that is going to be a tough ask and not designed to do 29 laps. I'm presuming we're going to have another lap in the safety car because the driver was a long way off the back of the train. First supercars is out, I'm presuming his crack is wide, so Austin Man's bit again, don't tell me he's damaged his wing under the safety car. Yes, he has, he's broken the end plate off of his wing and will now have it replaced. So we'll be waiting even longer. Critically for his race, he gets out in front of the safety car train, but unfortunately for him, I think the safety car will be in before he's done a lap to catch it. Because I presume the safety car's coming in at the end of this lap, despite Hack might not be there, because it can't stay out forever. So, safety car will be in at the end of the lap. Lewis controls the pace, and Austin managed to get in again. Don't tell me it's something missed what it is, but anyway, we'll be getting underway. Lewis with a jump on Mick. Hugo looking to move in. Philip picks up time penalty for track limits. Bit of a lock up there from Hugo into turn one. Understeering slightly deep. Botman picks up track limits. Really not making his day any better. As Siberia Anti has had a spin. I think he might have come together with Philip, because Philip lost a lot of time through that chicane. Anyway, back to the front of the field. No one really able to put any moves on. Danny Boy looking at the back of Dance. Dance with a massive snap of oversteer. Danny Boy will now look to the outside. Trying out like McLaren can't quite do it. All has to go off the road. And that will open up for Monkey, who hits the back of Danny Boy. Round goes the Haas. And is there any damage to the Alfa Romeo? He's dived down the inside rear pixel. And Monkey will have to back out of that. Fortunately, doesn't appear to have any damage, or certainly not significant damage to the wing. Bad news for Danny Boy though, losing a lot of positions. As Apollo goes past Hilsey, Hilsey tries to fight it, almost having contact with the Ferrari. And now Zakian down the inside, potentially. They touch on the straight. And through he goes, not quite. A little bit more Artabazi. Zakian loses the rear slightly. Still now battling away with High Caliber. Loses out that position, but High Caliber definitely took the track limits warning there to get the move done. Honestly surprised there was no illegal overtake there. Brandon says he's taking a move as Hills has spun it and has broken a piece of his front wing, I believe. So he loses a lot of places and time, drops him out of the points positions. As Real Pixel now looking for a move on Dance, touches the back of the McLaren. And someone else has made a mistake. Monkey has a big error on the hairpin, lost about 5 places through that corner. Dance has pulled away a bit down the straight. There's a yellow flag up in front, and I think that's possibly getting out of the way as he goes right down. Hilsey 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. Not ideal for his race, but he's a long way down the order anyway. Now Possum Man getting nicely out the way of this train fighting over 5th position. A bit further back, Zakiman back on the back of High Caliber. We try and get a move done potentially with the DRS assistance. We have it down this straight, unlike High Caliber. But can't get a move done, the straight's just not long enough. I have to wait, and now High Caliber will be getting DRS off of Apollo ahead of him. It'll make it harder for Zakiman to get a move. Very similar levels of battery. Someone's got to spin there. I think that is Boston Man. This is. So, Zakiman too far back, but Apollo is not. They're almost 3 wide. Real Pixel, Brandon and Apollo side by side. Apollo smart to back out of that one. They touch ahead. He goes through the middle. Brilliant move by Apollo GTR. Brandon and Real Pixel still side by side. Finally, Real Pixel has to back out of it, losing 2 places. Apollo GTR picking up the pieces up into 6th place. Very smart driver to back out on the entry to the chicane, get the better exit, and mug both of them. Although it seems like a compliment, he picks up the track limits penalty. The commentator's curse there. Our closest battle is Max to the back of Mick over 2nd place. Nothing's changed in the front 4 so far after the restart, but might be about to happen. Max looks inside, couldn't get it done. He will get a better exit potentially than the Mercedes. He will have the DRS assistance, but he loses the back end massively on traction. And that has cost him well over half a second and any chance of an overtake. Critically brought Hugo into DRS range behind him. They will now have pressure both in front and behind as Zakiman passes Rear Pixel up into P8 from McLaren. And Max and Mick battling away. As soon as I looked away, I didn't see how that came about, but Max was a long way back last I saw, so I wonder if there's a slight mistake from Mick. They are all over the place right now, trying to get past with Max. Got to be aware that Hugo's behind, but he's got just enough breathing room to put an attack on here. He'll have the DRS down the next straight, but he's not going to get a good enough exit. He's going to have to bide his time, wait for the next dosage of DRS. Typically, Lewis is kept ahead by over a second, but Max should be able to get past with the DRS, provided he doesn't make another mistake. He's going to launch onto the inside. Zeno backs out of it, a massive lock-up. somehow gets it stopped, gets a rubbish exit because of it. Silly mistake to make, but he might still have the pass with the DRS. Never know. Not going to get a move into the chicane, but could he get a move out and on the next straight? He runs wide, takes a corner cutting warning, but it does put him close to the back of Mick. Can't make a move into turn one this time around, tantalisingly close for the Red Bull driver. Oh, he loses the backhand, he is round this time. He's been on the edge for the past couple of laps and has finally run out of skill to spin it around. Not that I'm saying I did any better yesterday, but Max moves it around, loses 2 places and about 8 seconds. Now he's on the attack immediately against Apollo GTR, who suddenly finds himself in 4th position. Max will have the DRS down the back straight. And looks inside, can't make it stick. Gets a better exit, it'll go to the left hand side, not able to do anything. I believe it was except for fastest lap of the race there, didn't quite see. As Max will this time bide his time, get an alright exit, and have DRS surely goes breezing past the Ferrari now, gaining massive overspeed. Here he goes, meanwhile Zakiman switches places ahead of his teammate Dance Super, but Apollo loses out to Max, and Apollo hits the wall on the exit of the chicane as Dance dives into the pit lane. Finally, breathe, it's calmed down a little bit. Monkey quite close to the back of Real Picks, to those that could still be all action throughout the field. Hugo now beginning to catch Mick within DRS range, but doesn't look quite as threatening as his teammate did a couple of laps ago. And Monkey is round. Monkey with a big snapper oversteer, and goes around at turn 5. Somehow didn't break his wing despite scraping it along the wall for a good few meters. Oh no, in fact he did lose one end plate, but lucky to still have any wing remaining. Zakiman up the back of Apollo now. Zaki has been flying since that mistake about probably 8 laps ago. Trying to charge back through, and if he could get through here, he could tag along on the back of Matt. Lewis is into the pit lane from the lead of the race, first to make a move. As now Zakiman goes to the inside on Apollo. They will battle side by side through the first couple of corners. And still side by side into the chicane of 3 and 4. Zakiman picks up a track limit penalty. And Zakiman gets the move done. Nothing Apollo can do to fight back, or is there? Because Zakiman gets a big snap of oversteer, but just about got to get away with it, I think. And now Mick leads, but Lewis has obviously made that pit stop and come out in some very nice clean air to try and pump in fast lap times. 5 seconds to High Caliber in front of him. Try and get an undercut on Mick and stay ahead of the Mercedes driver. No moves really going at the minute. Apollo can't quite get to the back of Zakiman after losing the place earlier in the lap, as Mick is the next one into the pit lane. This is about the time where you would expect the medium runners in. Brandon picked up a penalty. Mick will drop down the order. Where will he come out relative to Lewis? I would think he's going to be quite a way behind looking at it. And indeed he is. And it's going to be a couple of seconds, I believe. Yeah, I would say about 3 seconds behind the AlphaTauri, so he's lost about a second and a half from the undercut there. But that is interesting to note, that potentially the Red Bulls could lose a couple of seconds by staying out. Of course, they are on the hard compound tyres, so they have to go a bit longer. this is where they want a safety car to come out. Yeah, high caliber catching back of Apollo over currently 4th position as Hilsey is out. Hilsey goes out of the Canadian Grand Prix, and that is huge because it's brought out the safety car. So, mistake for Hilsey could have thrown this race up in the air. Both Red Bulls pit as a double stack. Zackyman follows them in. And this is Apollo, high caliber. Everybody into the lane. Lewis carries on, of course, having just pit himself. And it's going to be close. Lewis will maintain his lead. But I believe Hugo could get out ahead of Mick here. Very close on the exit. And he would have done it, but he locked up on the exit. And it's cost him the place. Big mistake. But Mick has got an illegal overtake, I believe, because Hugo was classed as being on the circuit. So, Hugo just about sneaks his way into 2nd position. Max losing a lot of time with a double stack. And potentially, I believe, a wing change. Because he did have that spin earlier, and he took a long time. I'll just check that my mic is still working. Yay, it's not doing the weird crackly thing. So, field will bunch back together. Let me look at the gap to the leader. I believe the only people a lap down are Siberia Anti, Philip and Possum Man. Everybody else is still on the lead lap. And so we'll be on the lead lap, so we'll bunch up and be in with a shout of fighting over points. And big position changes over this race. We haven't really looked at that so far. And I'm seeing that Brandon up 6 positions, started 16th up into 10th, scoring points at the minute. Good kind of recovery drive almost for the AlphaTauri. And big losers, Possum Man down 3, Zacky Man down 3. No one really taking massive losses in this race. So, we'll be getting underway any second. Oh, we will be going around for another lap, in fact. So, we go around again. Lewis will restart in the lead eventually. We'll have a look at penalties. That'll give us something to do over the next lap. Lewis and Zacky Man, the only 2 in the top 4 with penalties, both have 3 seconds. Hugo and Mick in good positions, not having penalties. Lance has a 5 second, high caliber 6. Max only the 3 to his name, so could gain a couple of places on those ahead of him. Apollo 6, Real Pixel 3. Monkey and Danny both have 3. Brandon just ahead of him with 6. Siberia Andy's kept it very clean, but he's a lap down, so he's only really battling Philip and Possman are 3 and 6 seconds respectively. Of course, that's expected to change over the course of the race from here on in. Someone has put in the chat a suggested poll saying who's better, Messi or Ronaldo. I don't have the power to actually do a poll because I'm not logged into the F1WL Twitch on my phone and I'm useless at using my Xbox. So we'll just type our answers in the chat. I personally am a very strong Messi fan because he's just a baller and he won a World Cup. No, I think they're both very good footballers, but Messi's better. Anyway, off of the football talk, onto racing talk as Lewis gets us underway. And Dart Super already changed the penalties, racking up another 3 seconds. Hugo right on the back of Lewis, but couldn't quite get through at the restart. No one changed positions yet. Yellow flags, I believe that's people that are laps down, getting out of the way. Possum Man stings it at the back. But slightly irrelevant there because he is so far behind. Being locked down. Max down the inside of High Caliber. That's for position. Up into P5 goes the Red Bull. And so he will chase down after Zakiman, try and get himself back into the top 4 that he lost with that costly mistake earlier on. As Brandon has had a moment coming out of the second chicane, is that? On the way, he's had a spin, drops down into 12th position. So Hugo now looking to the outside of Lewis. Gets the move done. Very brave. Drop across like that in the middle of the corner. And that's put Mick right on the back of them. Apologies. And Mick down the inside of Lewis. Gets through. And could Zakiman look to make Lewis's day even worse? No, Zakiman's made a mistake and lost out to Max. But now Lewis has plummeted down the order. He is on the hard compound tyres. Only Mick is the other one on hards. And so, top 5 separated by just a couple of seconds, all very much nose to tail. As Apology TR has had a spin further back, dropped him out of the points, moves Danny Boy up into the points. These front 5 have really broken away from High Caliber behind already, as Max has made a move on Lewis in the hairpin. Lewis from first dropped all the way to 4th now, and Zakiman might look to make his day even worse very shortly. But Lewis fights back against Max, has to brake early, and that puts Zakiman up behind, but a bit of a mistake from Zakiman means there will not be a move this time around. Max might be making a move on Mick now. He can't quite do it. He's only just cleared Lewis. He's already on the charge. Max with some serious pace right now. So he turns 3, 4, now into the right-hand kink of 5. And Max can't quite get the move done so far. Now he's got the DRS assistance. Can he get a move done? And gaining significantly. Doesn't go for a lunge. Smart driving. He's learnt from earlier as Hugo spins. Hugo with a massive mistake. And that'll drop him all the way down. Almost to the edge of the points. Down into 9th position. And now Max versus Mick is the battle for the lead. And Max will breeze past down this straight with the DRS assistance. All of a sudden, from Hugo leading by almost a second. Now Max versus Mick. Down the inside goes Max, and he takes the lead of the race. Zakiman also passing Lewis on that straight, and will pull away. High Caliber now into that battle, trying to take 4th place off of Lewis here. Lewis, having shown really promising pace earlier on, is now plummeting down the order, really struggling to keep up with those top few drivers. He is on the slightly worse compounded tyres, but as is Mick, and Mick is holding his pace. And Dart Super with a mistake there. That promotes Hugo, Apollo, Brandon all up a position into the points. Dart drops to 11th place. Real Pixel not far from the back of Monkey, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything just yet. So, Apollo also on the back of Hugo. Didn't expect to see that. Thought after Hugo had made that mistake, he'd then fly away from those behind him. But apparently not. And Apollo almost does actually make contact with the back of Hugo. He did not get a very good exit though, so doubt he'll be going for a move just yet. As the yellow flags are out, that is Philip in the wall, is he? I don't know whether he's retired on track or has hit the wall. I think there's a retire on track, so there's an escape road there. Meanwhile, Apollo trying to make a move, still on Hugo, but a bit too far back into turn 1. Lance with another spin at the hairpin, really not helping his race. Consistency is very much the key here. Nick and Hugo lacking the penalties would gain them significantly towards the end, especially if there's another safety car. No one really within range of a battle right now. Zakiman could be looking for a move on Mick very shortly in the back. Zakiman has appeared to have a little bit more pace and is on the faster tyres, so wouldn't be surprised if there is a battle coming on the horizon. 3 tenths back now going into the chicane. Could possibly have enough pace to try on into turn 1. Got a bit of oversteer. I think that's going to put pay to that one. Max now with a 3-second lead takes the fastest lap of the race as he does it, and very much asserting his dominance over the field right now. Someone else has lost it. That is Dance again, and now goes a lap down. That has really ruined his race. He's now got no chance of picking up any points. Zakiman is going to be too far back, but possibly high caliber going through. No, I think he will also be a little bit too far away from Lewis. We're back to Zakiman battle. Plays it sensible into the chicane. Goes a bit deep, but he will get a good exit because of that. And so, gaining as already on this straight, opens the DRS, deploys the battery, has more battery to use than Mick. Goes to the inside, breezes past on the straight, and gets across ahead before they even make it to the corner. Zakiman up to P2. Mick will have to settle for 3rd at the minute. Now Gant out of the race, the car's in pit lane. Don't particularly blame him for being so far behind. Never really going to salvage anything from that race, being a lap back. Even safety fucking help. So now nobody really within range. High Caliber's lost about half a second to Lewis, so that battle is stable for now. Real Pixel the only one within DRS range, and Apollo is to Hugo, but I doubt Apollo will be getting past the Red Bull. Real Pixel has a chance against Monkey, but not going to be close enough with the DRS this time around. It got on for quite a while before they actually do some side-by-side racing here. Let me get up the championship standings, see if anything here is having an impact. I remember that Zakiman and Mick came into this round tied on points, I believe. Get that. The championship. But Zakiman and Mick came into this round tied for the lead of the championship. The Zakiman would take the lead as it stands as the safety car is pulled out. Danny Boy has hit the wall. through the chicane and has DNF'd the car. Lots of debris across the track, and that safety car will play massively into the hands of Mick and Hugo without penalties. But Zackman and Zackman and Mick, apologies, Shadow's his name in the Discord server. Zackman and Mick having a very close championship battle as it stands. And Zackman going to look to, well, he was looking to open up a gap to Mick, but with the safety car, he'd actually swing back the way of the Mercedes driver. Other people involved in the fight, Hugo, quite a long way down the order, currently in third in the championship, 17 points behind, as everyone dives into the pit lane, I'm presuming for a set of soft compound tyres. Nobody else really in with a shout. Max, if he wins this race, would jump up probably towards the top 5-ish, so could be on to watch in the future. And no one else really doing anything significant for the championship. Boston takes a drive-through penalty. As everyone onto fresh, soft, compound tyres. The entire field opting for that strategy. It was a smart move. I tried the mediums yesterday about this point and say it didn't go well. I might have kind of spun from the lead. But anyway, yeah, smart decision to go to the softs. I certainly learnt from my mistakes. Constructors Championship, Mercedes currently on top, but only Mick in this race, but their nearest rivals are McLaren, who are 16 points behind, so it's really Mick versus Zaki at this point in the race, trying to help the Constructors Championship, as it is in the Drivers Championship. And further back from that, Red Bull will pull away massively from Haas, as Haas has a double DNF, while Red Bull currently first and 8th, but Hugo might jump up with penalties. So that'll be a big point tool to put them clear in third place, and potentially even challenge the top 2, depending on how high Hugo can climb up the order. As of course, Aston Martin 5th, very close between 4th and 7th, only about 16 points covering those 4 teams. Aston, AlphaTauri and Ferrari. All of which, no, Ferrari have one driver left in the race, and AlphaTauri could make big gains in that battle actually, with Lewis up there in 4th. Another team scoring well is Alfa Romeo, currently down in 8th on 10 points, but 2 strong finishes here could jump them up the order. At this point I am just waffling to try and get rid of the safety car. So apologies for everyone that has to sit through the waffle. Oh, we're not even going to get underway this lap, so I'm going to have to find another lap's worth of waffle. That's not good. No one likes hearing me waffle because it's usually meaningless stuff. Stupid possum man, should have caught up to the pack and then we could have had some actual racing action. But instead we're going to go around again. So let me see if there's anything interesting to find about the league that we can waffle about. What's that? Yeah, I'm really struggling to find stuff to talk about, so we're going to have to sit here for a while with me just not doing a lot. Anyway, bit of... Oh, Possum spun it through the chicane. I was riding the border and he finally caught the pack. And he's looped it around. But, oh yeah, bit of self-promotion here. If you're not following the F1WL channel, please follow, because Mick will be happy. And a happy Mick means I don't get shouted at. So please follow, because it saves me. Anyway, we're finally going to get back underway at the end of this lap. And so Max will lead the field away. He decides when to go. The man has to react. Mick and Lewis will try and get a jump on those two in front of him if they can as well. Expect it to be all guns blazing, chaos to the end here, because 4 lap sprint and there is everything to be gained and lost. So they get underway. Max with a very good restart. Lewis right on the back of Mick is probably best jump we've seen, other than Hugo already down the inside of real pixel. Very good restart from both the Red Bull drivers. Max pulling a gap and Hugo up to 7th already. I'm going to keep the penalties up on my screen. I think Luigi's left it up on your screen as well. That is going to be crucial to the results of this race. I don't think Mick would actually win the race, having not got any penalties. Hugo would probably jump up to a podium, I believe. As he's going to tangle at the back. I think Apollo and Siberia Anti were caught up in that one. Nope. Possibly just Apollo, actually. Apologies. Real pixel right on the back of Hugo now. Can't quite make a move down into the hairpin. Almost a bit of contact between them. They've separated out a bit. High caliber not far behind Lewis, but while they're in a train, not a lot is going to be able to happen. Need to wait for the DRS to be activated. Max has already pulled a massive gap, 1.5 seconds ahead of Zakino. And critically, 2.5 seconds ahead of Mick. Max takes the new fast lap at race. As Hugo now going to try and look for a move on Monkey. Getting very close through turn 1 and 2. Now going to come down through the chicane 3 and 4. Heading into 5. Right behind the Alfa Romeo. He's going to look to try and make his way into 6th position. Try and chase down after those in front. He's not going to be able to do it yet. I wonder if he'll have to wait for the DRS. So tough to overtake when you haven't got that assistance in the straight line. Although he's got a better exit as he runs down towards the hairpin. Could we see a lunge by the Red Bull driver? Monkey covers it off. Hugo goes a long way round. Can't get a gap. He has to sit in behind for now. And that is going to be frustrating him. That behind, just watching everyone else pull away. Speaking of which, Max has really pulled the gap, almost 3-second gap to Zakhan, 2.4 and increasing, almost 7/10 a lap quicker than the McLaren. As High Caliber almost ran the back of Lewis there. Also, man gets a disqualification for ignoring drive-through penalty. And that's a bit of a oof. So he will not be scoring any points. Not that there was really a chance unless someone DNF'd. Now we're down to 11 runners. Particularly for Max, he has got the 3-second gap to Mick. So currently the results would be Max ahead of Mick. Then it would be Zaki and Lewis. And I believe Hugo would take P5 as it stands. Yes, he would. Ahead of High Caliber Monkey. No. I think High Caliber would be next, but Monkey's going to lose a handful of positions with 9 seconds of penalties. Either way, Hugo down the inside of Monkey. Monkey has to cut the chicane. And loses quite a lot of time in doing so. Drops down into P8. And with the penalties, I think that's where he's going to be staying. Hugo now needs to try and catch about 1.5 seconds to be within penalty range of Lewis. Sorry, not 1.5 seconds, about half a second. As Brandon has spun. Harbour trying to get up past Lewis, but can't find any openings. But critically, Lewis has dropped out of DRS range, although he's used his battery to get back in. I think he might have just saved himself by the skin of his teeth, although he lost a bit on the exit there, and I think I'm not sure where the detection point is, and he does not have the DRS. So Highcamber will cruise past, and Rory goes into P4, and if he... No, there's no way he pulls a 3-second gap within them. Oh, this is the final lap. My lap count was broken. It said lap 34. Apologies for not building up the winning a bit more, but Max takes victory here in Canada. Mick takes second place, crucially taking the championship ahead of Zakiman by, is it 5 points? But crucial points for this championship. Mick ahead of Zakiman. Lewis takes home a much needed P4 to put points on the board for AlphaTauri. Hugo makes it a very strong weekend for Red Bull in 5th. It's a bit annoying that my laps were broken. It definitely said lap 34 in the top left of my screen. It probably didn't on yours, because it's probably my fault, not Luigi's. But either way. So we wait for the confirmation of the provisional results. Obviously people can report any incidents, and that could affect the results of the race, especially with the field being so bunched up. If anyone were to get a 5-second penalty, that could drop them quite a few positions. But it's Max who takes victory in Canada. Nick takes home points in second, Zakiman, Lewis, Hugo. It's High Caliber in 6th, Real Pixel. Monkey makes it a double points finish for the Alfa Romeo team, much needed to get them out of the bottom 3 constructors. Apollo brings home 9th place and 2 points for Ferrari. Brandon 10th, and Siberia Antish rounds out the finishers in 11th. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this spectacle, and I will be leaving now, and I will leave it to you, Luigi, to round off the stream. Goodbye.
So basically, couldn't commentate due to my voice and being that alright. I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can hear that, but we'll see you all 42 in like 40 minutes. So make sure to tune in 42 stream, and as always, bye for now. I'll be back next week, by the way, commentating probably.